Mars Day with Mark. I believe this is 125. Look alive. The astrology of the week, November 4th until the 11th. So we're ending this week at 11/11. How cool is that? This really is a magical week, guys. And this week, more than other weeks, I'm really excited to give you this information. And we'll start with setting our intention. We've got the black candle today that this video will be lit. Oh shit. Fire family, stay lit, stay positive. If I jump the gun, let me say it's Mr. Meyer with the fire, here to take the collective vibration higher. And our sole intention, fire family, is to reconcile all paradox with love and truth. Love and truth, I love you. Take a look at the chart, guys. The very moment I started this, Pluto's on the rising. Moon square Pluto, I set the intention, I speak to the collective heart. So we're in the middle of Scorpio season. And I'm going to run through the degrees in just a second. But before we get to that, the highlights of this week, the real main things, guys, is we're going through the astrological Samhain, meaning the middle of Scorpio. Scorpio is the middle of fall. So it is really about change on the deepest, most profound level, and sometimes even the simplest level. Change, number one. Number two, full moon in the sign of Taurus, Wednesday, tomorrow. Get excited. And then we've got some ingress action. I'm super excited to tell you about this. This is actually an action-packed week, so I'm just going to barrel through it. I hope you guys are down for that. We've got Venus moving into the sign of Scorpio, so that's big. You've got Mars moving into the sign of Sagittarius, so that's big. Mercury is beginning the retrograde phase. Hello, guys. Buckle up. This is an intense one. And I want to really say, big picture, just because I know attention is limited. It's your most valuable currency. Thanks for spending time on this video. That Scorpio reflects privacy and secrecy. And the sun, because it's Scorpio season, the sun shows what we're aware of. So this week, as we go right through the middle of Scorpio and have this full moon and all these other action-packed events, we're all going to have this experience where we look at ourselves on effectively one of the deepest levels. And then we start to contemplate, what changes do we need to make? And I'm talking massive lifestyle changes. I'm talking minor lifestyle changes, everything in between. But this is going to be one of those weeks where you make big decisions. And they might be silent, they might be subtle, they might be, I think metaphorically, like if you were a pilot of a ship or a plane, that you kind of redirect your course a little bit. And you may not see the result of that decision for maybe months or years to come, but it may be immediate. So these are just my ideas. I hope you guys have a blessed Scorpio season. Let me know down below if you have Scorpio placements. I would sure like to know. Me personally, guys, I've got Chiron in Scorpio at 12 degrees. So as we kick the week off, the sun is shining right on my Chiron. I feel good. I feel whole today. My back low-key hurts a little bit, if I'm just keeping it honest with you. I was in the gym lifting the other day, yesterday, and I pulled a muscle. And they say mind over matter and psychosomatics. Like the muscles I pulled, I wasn't even really engaging, so maybe I had really bad form. But honestly, I started looking way deeper into it, really in this season. In the spirit of Scorpio, I'm like, what emotions would have created this experience in my body and things like that. But anyway, let's jump into the degrees. I'm kind of yapping. So right now, sun is at 12 Scorpio. The moon is at 1 Taurus. You see that big square to Pluto? Either you see it or you don't. But anyway, Mercury's at 5 Sagittarius. And this is Tuesday, November 4th, everybody. Venus is at 27 Libra. You can see her up at the top of this chart. Ignore the houses, by the way, if you're looking at the chart, because this is my local geography. I feel like most of us know that, but I just wanted to say it. Mars is at that 0 degrees of Sagittarius, just moved in. You've got Jupiter at 25 Cancer. Saturn is at 25 Pisces in retrograde. Uranus is retrograde at 0 Gemini. Neptune is retro at 29 Pisces, and Pluto's direct at 1 Aquarius. So check this out. 1 week in the future, on the 11th, of course, our sun moves up a little bit. It's going to be at 19 at the end of the week. So, like I said, guys, 15 Scorpio is really going to be astrological Samhain, or what you consider Halloween loosely, mid Scorpio. So that's kind of the middle of our week this week. The moon is going to be in Leo in the last quarter phase next week. So we get the triple moon this week, my friends. Keep that in mind. That we start with the waxing, we're going to have our full moon, and then we're going to get into the waning all in 1 week. So we're also going to have Mercury start its retrograde at 6 degrees of Sagittarius. So Mercury really only moves up about 1 degree, it stations, and then it starts its retro this week. Venus is going to move to 6 Scorpio. Powerful stuff. And pay attention to your natal chart and your placements and see how these planets interrelate with you. Because that's when you really start cooking, okay? You got Mars at 5 Sagittarius. You've got Jupiter still at 25, but Jupiter is stationing retrograde. So we're going to have Jupiter turn around. And we'll talk about Jupiter's significance in a second. But Saturn is still at 25. The interesting thing to note is that Uranus finally backs up into Taurus. And this will be probably the last time you're going to see Uranus go into Taurus in your lifetime. Potentially. I mean, maybe, I'm not trying to be pessimistic because Uranus takes about 84 years to loop-de-loop. So I'm just doing the math, I'm not trying to be grim. It is really a Scorpio thing to say. It's like, I don't know, some of y'all aren't going to last that long. But it doesn't fucking matter, man, because you've still got, Uranus and Gemini and Cancer and Leo, and you can have fun in all those other signs. Anyway, Uranus and Taurus, and this is outer planetary, guys. Neptune is in the same spot, Pluto's in the same spot, basically. And these things move a little bit slower, but get ready for the shift, guys. Let's work our way up to it. I'm going to kind of get you familiar with the archetypes, starting with the highlights, and if we have time in the 25, we'll get into that other stuff. Anyway, so with the sun, just understand it's okay to let go. We're going to have a full moon moment this week, and this is really the main thing to talk about, guys, is that these signs, Scorpio and Taurus, they're going to be activated in everybody's charts. So it's worth looking at, especially if you have placements around 12 degrees, give or take, okay? The full moon in Taurus really is about living your best life. That's what you got to understand, is this full moon happens every month, right? It's the lunar cycle. And beyond being a really spectacular natural event, it has tremendous magical significance and reflects timing within each and every one of our lives. So I think at best, the full moon is the opportunity to look at whether or not we are fulfilled in a certain area of our lives. And Taurus really is about everything we need. So, hey, if I could make it even simpler, the full moon in Taurus comes around like once or twice a year, very rarely twice, but it says, hey, you good? The call comes from inside of the house. It's really about your feelings when it comes to the moon. So the moon comes through in Scorpio season, full in Taurus, and says, hey, fam, are you good? Do you need anything? What's up? And your body has the answers. The moon really does reflect the body in a lot of forms of astrology. And I think it's really beautiful to consider that in traditional astrology, the moon actually does really well in Taurus. The moon is considered to be exalted in Taurus. And what exalted means, Fire Family, if you're unfamiliar, it means elevated. It means exalted. It means lifted up. So an exalted placement, a planet in an exalted sign basically does its job a little bit better because it's higher up. It has a better vision and perspective. So what is the moon? It's the rhythm, it's the cycle, it's the tide, it's the feeling, right? And then Taurus is, again, everything you need. So, like, have we all not felt hungry? You know how you feel when you haven't slept? Your energy just kind of, what the hell? You're dehydrated. You know that feeling? You know how it feels to be satiated? So emotions, they really lead us to success beyond survival. Connection is direction in this world, guys. So I'm trying to tell you, man, when the moon comes around and asks, are you good? You really need to be listening to your heart. And It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be like, no, I'm actually not good. I actually need this, that, and the third. Sometimes that's the first step towards change. And I'm really trying to drill this point, guys, because I wanted to lay the theme out at the very beginning, where you're having this week. Let me move this forward because basically the full moon's on Wednesday, guys. I'm shooting this Tuesday, so tomorrow, like tomorrow morning, the moon is gonna have already peaked. So as far as magical um play is concerned, for my witches and adepts, we're really gonna have to get in motion on Tuesday night or Wednesday night because the moon only is in a sign for about 2 to 3 days, right? I mean, of course, you can do the waning magic, but if you're trying to utilize the full magic, man, it's tonight or tomorrow night, period, right? But anyway, so a little bit further from that thought, I'm trying to say that, whatever we're made aware of during this time, it is going to basically be a theme of a cycle of release as we wane out. What are we changing right now? And then that Mercury retrograde that starts this week as well, that's a 20-day period of mindset revision. I said that at 11:11. That was really beautiful. It's a period of mindset revision, getting your thoughts in order. And that's another thing I want to talk about before I go too far. I think now is the time to talk about it. And one thing about me, guys, I'm a Mercury Leo person. So I really want to add like great detail and to everything. And if I don't talk in a straight line, if I jump back and forth, my apologies. But the thing about this Mercury retrograde, I think, is also significant as we're talking about these time frames, because we basically spend about 2 weeks waning or 2 weeks waxing, and that makes up the whole lunar cycle, give or take, right? Where we go from new moon to new moon. It's pretty beautiful. I love this shit, man. I hope you guys are digging it. So the Mercury retrograde lasts about 20 days, starting on the 9th. See, that's where it says S stationing. And then it's going to go until basically the 29th. So get excited, guys. Mercury retrograde starts in the sign of Sagittarius. And I think this is really the most important thing to understand is that set in there, you see, that's the 29th where Mercury goes back direct. We're going to be in the first week of Sagittarius before the retrograde is over. Okay. Anyway, let's back that up. Let's get back to the present. All right. So Mercury in Sagittarius, my friend, it's all about, can you think big? Can you think big? Like, do you have belief in your thought? And also, there's a lot to be said about mentorship. That birds of a feather flock together and great minds think alike. So if we have the right people in our circle, if we listen to success, if we replicate success with our thoughts and our actions, we're probably going to be successful. So that's really important. That's really relevant. And really, I think that's going to be a big theme of the 20-day retrograde is, can you simplify your life? Can you organize and clean up and declutter? Like that's the regular retrograde stuff. But this one more specifically is, can you believe a little more? Can you think a little bit bigger? Can you encourage yourself more? Because we suffer severely with negative thinking. A thought, I really don't think you could say there's like good or bad thoughts, but you could definitely look at your thoughts in terms of, is this empowering or is this disempowering? And I think you're also going to see that in the context of Mercury going back to Scorpio, which is all about power. Like, does this thought support me or does it not? Scorpio is all about eliminating shit, guys. So that's really the theme. This week is lighthearted. I feel good about this week, but it does have a serious energy. Maybe it's the Jupiter in Cancer making me feel good about it, but it's very serious if you look at it. But that's life. So a couple other things. I talked about it, but let's really break it down. Guys, Venus Day. That's Friday. Friday. Friday's really the day, guys, this week. Couple highlights. Number one is we've got our full moon on Wednesday, but then Friday, man. Friday this week, November 7th. We're going to see the sun at 15 Scorpio. So number one, that's astrological Samhain, the midpoint of Scorpio from a tropical perspective. And then number two, we've got Venus moving into Scorpio. And Venus is going into the sunken place, man. Not a good or a bad thing, but, the Scorpio energy, is about death and rebirth. There's going to be a craving for intensity. Venus is making a square with Pluto as soon as she moves into Scorpio. Venus square Pluto. So, what that's going to say for everybody, let the mysteries be unveiled unto us, because I don't fucking know. Time will tell. But I will say, man, a lot of us have this placement. Venus square Pluto is, dark fantasies, and it could be intense desires. It could be the desire for control. It could have a possessive undertone. And depending on where, because there's billions of people, right? Depending on where we are in our lives, this isolated event, this Venus Pluto square, it'll have its range of effects, whether they're conscious or unconscious, whether they're subtle and unfelt or dramatic and cataclysmic. There's going to be infinite possibility spectrums, guys. That's the crazy thing about astrology. But I do know for some people, this is going to be kind of in that same spirit of the full moon in Taurus, a light that's shown deeper onto your desires or your true needs. You might eliminate a different need. You might transform your values on some level. The thing about a square, though, let's really stop beating on the bush, even though that's real. I just want to dive even deeper. A square is a lesson. A square is intense, all right? And this is your need for love and connection, which is Venus, going against your need for control or power, which is Pluto. So to give a little more detail, for some people, this could be like a loneliness or a longing for love and attention that runs so deep. Somebody may compromise their own energy or give away their own power for love, and also this could be about entering relationships, but also that need for power and control kind of creating barriers or lessons. And man, this shit could get dark and twisted for real. I kind of want to leave it above. I don't want to dive too deep into the bush, man, because that bush is like hissing and making weird sounds. I don't want to fucking touch it, fam. Some shit is just dangerous. You shouldn't get involved with it. So I don't know if I'm making sense to you guys. Sometimes as a 12th house Mercury, I like to speak in pictures, but damn, bro, this Venus Pluto energy is take care of your damn self and pay your bills and get rich and stay in your ethics. It also says, love is trust, love is not control. How you play that out, it really depends on how powerful you feel in your life. I feel like it kind of suggests that you have to have a level of power in your own self in order to really be able to trust somebody else. I don't know how you're meant to take that. I'm just reading the chart. So, hey, Venus in Scorpio is going to be here for weeks, Fire Family. I'm just saying, when it comes in on Friday, it kind of comes in with a bang. It comes with a bang. I mean, Venus and Pluto are both about finance as well, too. We could talk about this for days, but I'm watching the clock. I just kind of want to get through a lot of stuff. So there's mysteries in love. There's mysteries in money. Understanding your psychology is one of the most powerful things you can do. I think that's what Venus and Scorpio and Pluto Aquarius wants you to understand as well, is that for you to really attain your deepest desires and have balanced relationships, which is Venus and Scorpio, you're going to really need power over your mind, which is Pluto and Aquarius. I'll just keep it like that so you can even relate to that outer planet better. So let's talk about Mars now, guys. Mars is full speed ahead, bro. It's interesting because when Venus goes from her home to the next sign, which is Libra to Scorpio, she goes from home to fall. Scorpio is that sunken place, right? Could be big riches in the underworld. But when Mars moves from its home, Mars is lit, fam. I'm telling you, Mars goes from Scorpio, where it's like a burning red phoenix. It's all eagle mode. And then it goes to Sag, just bitch, I'm taking off like a rocket. Okay? Taking off like a rocket. Mars is the energy. You guys know how Mars gets on a Mars day. Mars in Sagittarius says, I need to see what's out there. And I need more. I need absolutely more. And you're going to see that Mars is ruled by Jupiter right now in Cancer. Jupiter is always the next planet after Mars, but you're just going to see that this Scorpio season is really deepening our ability to trust ourselves. by understanding our personal power. I feel like our Venus Libra transit really has us looking more at the balance in our life, the symmetry, drawing the lines even as far as what we want. And then when we get in that Venus Scorpio, we get in that Mars Sagittarius after that full moon. It's like, okay, so how can I get this shit in my life, man? What actions do I need to take? And I think more importantly, in the spirit of Scorpio, you're like, what actions do I need to fucking stop taking? It's not about what you do to be successful. It's about what you don't fucking do. The successful people don't do that shit. You know what I mean? I'll just leave it at that. Last episode, I was trying to convey that message, and I really did it with a lot of fire. So I'm trying to keep this hot enough for y'all, but just don't burn yourself while you're drinking the tea. You feel me? It's not about what you're doing, it's about what you're not doing when you're successful. Okay, there's two types of habits. There's the doing habits and the not doing habits. So in the spirit of elimination, the spirit of Scorpio, I really see that Mars and Sagittarius for the rest of this season, with our full moon popping off, with our retrograde, it's all about, okay, what things do I need to eliminate from my life? Because this could be addition by subtraction. Whew. Are you guys feeling what I'm saying? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? This could be addition by subtraction. So the beautiful thing about that, fam, is the power, the real power comes from letting go. The real power comes from letting go. I'm telling you right now. So Mars and Sagittarius with Mercury and Sag starting this retrograde out is really challenging you. Can you think big? If you can't think big, you're going to have to expand your circle of influence. You're going to have to start to assimilate great minds. You're going to have to start reading different books. You're going to have to start listening to different speakers. You're going to have to start assimilating different knowledge into your life. Okay? We are the sum of our environment and the people within it too. So, we got to get into a different environment. That's really what this message is saying with all this Mercury Sagittarius. It's about travel. It's about travel, guys. And Jupiter is up here exalted too, guys. Jupiter is exalted, let me tell you. So generally speaking, right now, we got to take advantage of this year of Jupiter Cancer. And the beautiful thing is, the retrograde is going to extend it, but take advantage of Jupiter Cancer. And what this brings is inner confidence. It brings inner confidence. Keep in mind, exalted could mean too much. It could mean a little overdoing it. And the risk we run with Jupiter Cancer is just overindulging in comfort. Ooh, excuse me. I'm not going to call that a confirmation, bro, because that could just be physical, but y'all could call that confirmation if you want. Excuse me. Overindulging in comfort, fam. The inner guidance will literally help you achieve your wildest dreams. But you have to be able to listen to it and not fall into unconscious patterns. Okay? That's really the thing here, fam, is that you need to understand you create the patterns. You create these habits. I think if there's one word I could give you this week, it's habits. And that's the South Node in Virgo. Habits. You got Saturn retro in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, North Node in Pisces, guys. Really, you can create your dreams. Dreams really do come true. But you have all these tools, all this energy, all this power this week in the midst of all these transitions. So remember, your faith and belief, that's preliminary. That's the dues. That's the price of entry. If you don't believe, you won't achieve. You're not going to even fucking go. So number one, you believe, you put your mind to it, you visualize it, you take a line fucking action. You start to speak, you start to feel, you start to become. And then again, birds of a feather, what? Flock together. I feel like I'm done yapping at you. I love you guys. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. It's Mr. Meyer with the fire. Fuck with your boy. If you need an astrology reading or a tarot reading, the link is in the bio. If you need to teach yourself astrology, my book, Simplified Astrology, all the programs are listed down below. We have a Discord server. Tap in with the Fire family. I know I see a lot of new people. I think at this point, we're probably going to have 5K subscribers. So I want to thank you guys for 5K. Thanks for sticking with the vision. Definitely be part of the community. Stay lit, stay positive. I'll see you guys next time, November 11th. We'll have to celebrate and commemorate the date and the milestones and these changes that we are embracing on the journey that we embark on. So, hey, merry meet, merry part, merry meet again, which is I'll see you guys soon. Peace. Blessed be.